want to begin is up to you.
Awesome. Well, thanks. Yeah, we can get started right away then if you would like. Thank you everyone for having us today. I know we've spoken before at some of these workshops. Quick introduction for people that don't know me. My name is Stephen Denbleyker. I'm the Assistant Purchasing Associate on campus. Karen Hurd is my supervisor. She's Director of Purchasing. And then Nicole is here as well, and she is part of CTS, and she's Director the Director of Client Support and Communications on campus for CTS. All three of us were first appointed to be on the print initiative by SUNY Administrative back actually, I believe in late 2020. I know John had sent out an email earlier kind of explaining that the initiative was first began officially by SUNY in 2021, but there was kind of rumors and some rumblings going on before that. So SUNY Oswego as a whole decided to kind of get a little bit of a jump on that and get a task force initiated first and have us kind of meet with departments a little before the official initiative back in late 2020, early 2021. And Karen, Nicole, and I were tasked with that as well. So on today's agenda, we're going to be going through and giving a brief project description on the SUNY policy as a whole. With that, giving some key aspects of the policy, our goals as a SUNY Oswego campus. They are along the lines of the SUNY Print Initiative, but as we know, we try to focus it more on an on-campus as a SUNY Oswego goal more than SUNY as a whole. They have their policies and we're trying to enable them, but at the same time, we want to make sure it's good for our campus and our employees and the students as a whole for SUNY Oswego. Along that goes the progress we've already made within these last 3 years. Again, Nicole, Karen, and I have met with many departments across campus. I'm sure some that are either watching this or watching the recording or here today, we've probably met with a few of you. The print design for, again, SUNY Oswego as a whole, we took SUNY's policy, formatted with them, met with some of the partners we'll talk about in a little bit, and made it a SUNY Oswego policy. Hopefully getting some change in the print culture on campus. I know that's always a little tough sometimes to discuss, but we really hope in the future with some of the changes that we were making on campus and some of the changes we've already made, we can change some of the print culture. And then at the end, we're going to discuss about Rich Hall, which has been our pilot test building on campus to enable some of these changes we've made already. Brief description on the project. Again, this was a SUNY initiative started back in 2021. As John sent out the email, it was enabled for all 64 SUNY campuses, and it was to reduce printing and standardize printing across all campuses. Every campus kind of had their own vendor, their own maintenance agreement with different third-party vendors. And this initiative was started kind of to streamline everything. And that involved these 6 S's. That includes saving, which is reducing printing costs across all SUNY. This would be due to less paper, toner, overall printers being purchased in the present, obviously, by reclaiming them and also moving forward. This would also put everything into a centralized print budget, which would also hopefully streamline it, because right now it's all up to the departments and their budget. And this would be bringing the budget into a centralized administrative print budget, including the purchases of the printers going forward. Simplification, standardization kind of all go in one. We'll be discussing that a little bit in the next slide more in depth, but basically the goal again was to streamline all the SUNYs under one manufacturer and vendor, and that would also oversee maintenance of the printers on campus. And this would also be to provide just a few options of printers instead of the various different printers, which will help our maintenance costs. We'll go over in a second. The security of the policy from SUNY also includes that all printers are enabled with secure print on campus. And for those of you that don't know, this allows us to go to print a job to the cloud, which would be held there, and it wouldn't be released or printed at the printer until you go up to the printer and enable a code, your own personal code, into the printer, and this will help us kind of keep print or sensitive information from being printed at will. When you hit print, it'll stay in the cloud until you're there to release that job. Sustainability, reducing paper and toner across campus will help us reduce our carbon footprint across campus. Kate Spector from Sustainability is involved with our monthly meetings with the SUNY Oswego administration. So she's part of every meeting during the months, and she's been working with us to get us some different updates on how much we are reducing it based on what we've already reduced as well. And then students, all these improvements will hopefully, from a student perspective, especially the cost savings, affect our students in a very beneficial way moving forward once all the stuff has been implemented from this project. Going further into the project description, there are 3 to 4 major parties involved with the SUNY Print Initiative. Obviously, one being SUNY, they're the project sponsor on this and got it going for all 64 campuses. I mentioned before that the state would be streamlining, going to one manufacturer across all campuses. This was done through a state RFQ that was sent out to multiple manufacturers. And after a year-long bidding and vetting process, Toshiba was awarded the state contract. With the state contract includes a maintenance portion, which is half the price per click compared to the contract we currently have on campus, which is through a third-party vendor named Eastern Managed. This includes the cost for a toner, as well as, again, the maintenance for all campus printers, which, if you don't know, a per click rate is every time you send a print job to the queue, that is a per click and per page pricing. Again, with the state contract came the standardization of the different units that would be available to each campus. And these units, in case anyone is interested, is a MFS mono HP laser jet, and then a single function mono laser jet as well, and then a multifunction color Toshiba E-Studio. So even though Toshiba was the manufacturer that won, they also can provide those HPs instead of just the Toshiba branded ones. Also, so everyone is aware, specialty printers such as plotters and wide format printers that are used in areas like art departments or for photography classes are not included as part of this initiative and are not included in our numbers. Along with Toshiba, SUNY has also partnered with 2 companies, Pharos and Path Forward, who oversee the campus printing data collection, the setting of individual campus goals based on the usage on our campus, and providing print and release software for the printers across campus, which includes our secure print. We have been working with both, not both, all parties, SUNY, Toshiba, Pharos, and Path Forward, to come up with the plan that we'll go a little bit more in depth with for SUNY as a whole. Now I'll pass it along to Karen, who's going to go into the key aspects of the policy.
These are some of the things that came as part of the SUNY wide objectives and policies that they've asked us to try and implement. And some of these will definitely affect the departments. USB printers are prohibited. That means anything that's connected directly to your printer that's not on the network. The major reason for this is because of security. Those printers are not secure. And also because these smaller USB printers cost 10 to 20 times what it costs to print on a regular, on these multifunction devices that we've got from Toshiba. We get this question, people say, can I bring my own printer in? No, it specifically says personal printers are prohibited, again, because of the security issue. It's something we're facing more and more every day. As we become more electronic, we have more problems with security. So we need to implement those policies and get these things in place early versus later. Printers will be deployed in a default. This was the default configuration, double-sided mono secure release. What currently happens on a lot of our printers, and we believe that's part of the reason we are high on our color print, is if you change, like say you do need to print something color and you change the settings on the your current printing, it will keep those settings for future printing. And I don't know if everyone realizes that, and that's where we think we get some of these unexpected color prints. Even though they might be black and white, if you select color, they print as a color print. So this will help with that. Double-sided obviously reduces the amount of paper that we're using, and it reduces the costs on that end. Color printing should be restricted to the most essential communications and used as an exception. Our number one thing that we've gotten comments on from the SUNY print group is that the percentage of our color prints is significantly higher than they want it to be. We have come down, but that's an area they really want us to focus on. And so we're trying to bring it to people's attention. And by having the default set to mono, you can still select color, but it will default back to mono. And, you know, so we won't get these random, I call them random color prints. Just as a side note too, it costs us 10 times more per page to print a color page than a black and white page. So that's the reason, you know, it's a monetary reason that we're looking to do that. Okay, Steve, next. Grant proposals cannot be used for the purchase of printers or supplies. That's been something that's been done quite often in the past. They are prohibiting us the use of grant money for those for that usage. Due to the secure release feature, confidentiality or convenience is not a reason for the need of a local desktop printer. We have on our floor, you know, we print checks. There's for certain things, we have a lot of secure information. We use the secure print so that information, or if we need to put in specialty paper, that's done at the printer before we print, and no one can kind of hijack the printer when you're using it. Generally, and this, I use that word very strongly, generally, the devices are placed no closer than 275 feet from each other for mono devices and no closer than 900 feet from each other for color devices. Again, this is what's coming from the SUNY the SUNY policy, but we have to evaluate what's important for our campus. Obviously, you know, you can't have one printer. You can't expect people from the library to print at Culkin. You know, it's just not reasonable. So this is part of what the print committee is doing by talking with the departments, seeing what the needs are, seeing what the physical design of the location is, looking at where a general common space is that can be accessed but still secure, you know, obviously because this is a device we don't want to leave in a hallway. So next. Our goals are to reduce our annual volume from 27.7 million clicks to 8.2 million. We have made substantial strides towards that, and Nicole will go into the specifics. We were recommended to reduce our devices from 334. Those are network devices. There's still a number of USB devices that are not included that number, and we're to get below 100 USB and, well, there should be no USB and 100 network devices. As we discussed earlier, they really would like us to reduce our color printing. And part of that's going to be education, having people think, do I need this to print in color? Do I need the whole document printed in color? You know, for example, if you just need one color graph, just print that one page in color and the rest of the report if you need it in black and white, or just print what you need. Which brings us to really changing the way we think about printing and our behavior. First, I'd like to applaud the campus overall. We've done a remarkable job since the pandemic at keeping our numbers down, really looking at electronic ways to solve printing, you know, our printing needs. We just need to continue on that and use, you know, some of the things we need to change our mindset on are that to view printers not as a departmental device, but more as a campus tool. Once this program is set up, you will be able to print from any printer. So say the printer on your floor is down for whatever reason, you can go to another floor and still be able to release your job. You don't have to wait until the maintenance guy comes to service it. Or if you're in another building and you need one of your jobs printed, you should be able to go to any printer and print that job. So there's some advantages. Think before you print. Is this something you really need printed? Or is there another way to handle this? Print only the pages you need. For example, if you're printing, for me, it's contracts. When I print contracts, I need to actually wet sign them. So I just print the signature page. I don't print the entire contract. And then also make sure you're right now selecting mono, you're printing black and white whenever possible. Even if a page is black and white, but you select color, it prints and costs us as a color page. This one me.
This one's me.
That's what I thought. Okay, thank
Yeah. Okay. So the goals that were set out for our campus, we've been trying to measure them every so often. We don't necessarily have tools to go back and get all of the information, but we reach out to our partners, and Path Forward just gave us a progress report last night. So these numbers are hot off the press. So we are down to 197 networked printers. They did design the campus to have less than 100. So we're continuing to work with departments and buildings as a whole to see where we can make accommodations for folks and think about more shared printing, as Karen mentioned. One of the things that we really like to do when we meet with people is let them know that we are here to, we're not the print police. We are not going to take your printer away. We are going to talk about it, have a conversation. We are going to look at the design, and then we'll look at how we can streamline the printing to a multifunction device. So that may mean removing some of the single function printers in favor of a multifunction device, and looking at how we can share printers across departments. So we're here to do a job. We're here to do the business. We don't want to hinder the business. We understand our business culture better than SUNY does. But we still have some goals that we need to try to strive for. Our current monthly volume is down from the 1 million pages a month, about pre-pandemic to 334,000. And that's a really great improvement. And we do believe that the pandemic had a lot to do with that, because we were remote. We didn't have printers to print. We had to work with different departments. We had to share documents. So we had to find ways to do things more digitally. So, but the great thing about that is, since we've come back from the pandemic, we have been able to sustain that number. So that's a really great goal that we're making. Karen mentioned that color is still a little thorn in their side, and we're one of the highest campuses for printing color. A thing just to remember as you're printing, if you do specify that needs to be printed in color, the next time you print, those settings stick. So the next document you print, you might not have needed to be in color, but because you chose color for the previous document, it just sticks to that setting. So as you are printing, just kind of look at your settings and see if it's black and white or color. And same for the next bullet point here. So duplex is what we call double-sided printing. So if your printer is set up for double-sided, try to utilize that as much as possible. And they have commended us for our double-sided printing. Steve, next slide, thanks. So another item that we have been commended on is our use of multifunction devices. So one of the things that SUNY looks at, and Path Forward and Pharos, is, how many prints are all of these printers doing per month? So, and those are the target areas of where we can consolidate. So for single function printers, we have a lot that really aren't printing as much as they're geared for. And so using a multifunction device where they are geared for a high amounts of printing is a preference. And we have been doing that at our campus for a long time, and they have recognized that and commended us for that. We have an opportunity based on the goals that they've set for us to save about $300,000 per year. We'll have some sustainability savings as well, environmental savings. And then overall, this was as of last night, we currently rank in the top 11 to 20 of SUNY campuses and reaching our goals in our printing. And I will pass it back to Karen.
Thanks, Nicole. This is kind of a summary of what we're looking at for the print design, specifically for SUNY Oswego. Again, these are general guidelines. As we said, in April of 2023, Toshiba came on campus, did a physical survey of printers on the network. At that time, we had 197 printers because we'd already been working at reducing them. 102 of those are multifunction and 95 single function. We continue to try and reduce those. We need to get down to the approved 100 devices. We are looking at making most of those multifunction devices with mono, with black and white to share across departments. We've already done quite a bit of this work in department, and as I said before, the campus has been overall very positive and willing to work with them to make it efficient for usage for the departments. And typically this means there's going to be one printer per floor in most buildings and one color printer per building. Now, that depends again on the size of the building, the number of people in the building, and the usages on that. But that's the general guideline so that we're working on. Next, Steve. The change in the print culture, we're centralizing the print budget. Right now, every department has to take care of their own printers, their own paper, and some of the maintenance is covered by the campus. Now we're going to move that to all the printers and maintenance will go to a centralized budget. And then it's because we'll be buying off the state contract and using the maintenance off the state contract. We will be eliminating Eastern, but it's going to be a phased elimination. So you will still have maintenance on printers that we currently have. But one of the things we've seen with Eastern is as our printer fleet ages, they're having more and more difficulty getting replacement parts. So we've kind of want to accelerate getting the older printers out of service so that no one's experiencing these problems. Again, the sharing of printers, the goal is one device per floor. Again, not always practical. This is where we have to step in and look at the actual physical outline and needs and the departments and usages. And that's what the committee is for. The use of new software for print and release that gives us the ability to have secure print. It allows privacy so that you're not printing documents and they're sitting on the printer with someone's social security number on them, for example. And it also allows us to use one printer for multiple specialty papers because you can add the paper before you release your job and no one can kind of get in there between, which is one of the reasons we've had some of these specialty, printers where they're just for one item. And we're going to go back to Nicole, and she's going to tell us about one of our current big projects.
Right. So school business has been very gracious and agreed to pilot the whole print secure release project and the purchasing of the new printers. And we started this back in the summer, and the end goal here is that, as Karen described, there are going to be 3 printers in the building, one for each floor, one color printer that's on the second floor, and all of the the employees in the school business will be able to print to any one of those. So if you're familiar with our print technology right now, people have to be what we call mapped to specific printers. So you can only print to those printers. Not everyone was, able to be mapped to all the different printers and Rich. So again, this is another advantage of the project, that people aren't mapped to the printer. You're going to print to the cloud, and then you can release to any of the printers that are set up with the new secure release software. So we have one multifunction device that's on the first floor. That device is being shared, or will be shared, with the MBA suite, and there's also facility staff. They have an office where they had a USB printer, so we are working on getting them set up to eventually print to this multi-function black and white device. And then we have one of the Toshiba color printers on the second floor that is centrally located in their copy room. And then on the third floor, the Dean Suite had their own BizHub. We worked with them, and that BizHub will be removed, and there will be a HP black and white multifunction device in a shared location for the whole third floor. So we are at a point where we have that HP multifunction device on the third floor installed. We have the software on it to do the secure release part. We are now at a point where we need to install the cloud. Pharaoh's Cloud is what it's called, but we're working on branding that. So we think we're going to call it Oswego Print, but we'll need approval from that too. So, so the software is called Pharaoh's Cloud for now, and we'll work on getting that installed on individual employee machines, and then we'll work on getting the second floor and the first floors set up. So after that, we need documentation and training. Some of our staff has already worked on the documentation, and we'll schedule some sessions to train everybody on how to use it. So our next steps, we have a few different projects that we're working on right now with individual departments, but we're really focused in now on picking 6 buildings that are going to have the biggest return on investment. And what we mean by that is either the devices that are currently there are aging and are really old, or there's a lot of printing that could be reduced to a multifunction device and take advantage of their high efficiencies. And so these are the 6 buildings that are next. We think Culkin will be the first one. These aren't in any particular order, although I will say that we think Culkin probably will be the next one that we work on, just because there are a lot of old biz hubs. And as Karen mentioned, we are having a lot of problems finding parts for them. And the Rich Hall biz hubs that are there and functioning are actually going to be saved in case we have an emergency situation where a biz hub is aged and we can't get parts for it. We'll have at least a couple to do an emergency swap with. But yeah, Culkin it does have a lot of aged printers in it. So those are the 6 buildings. And again, we plan on meeting with every department to understand their needs and make sure that, we are accommodating the business at the same time that we're trying to meet these goals. And sometimes that's compromise and just, a lot of discussion. So we'll be heading probably down the Culkin path pretty soon. What can you do now? So you'll see in these next few slides, these images, and these are marketing images that came from SUNY. And this is one of them. We've got, I don't know, two more. But what you can do now is, if you have low usage printers, if you have USB printers, even if you have a network printer that is in someone's office and they're the only ones that use it, those are the ones that we really need to shift to multifunction devices. So if you have some of those, or if you have printers that are just in the closets, you know, we've come to pick those up too. So think about that, and you know, we can work on getting those people set up to print to the multifunction device. Some places already have a secure print, and they're using that on the biz hubs. So that secure print is a little different than the Pharaoh's Cloud secure print that we've been talking about, and what the campus will be migrating to. So that's something that, you know, we can start with now. And we can also think about, if you're on a floor with multiple departments, think about if there's a space or how you might be able to share a multifunction device printer across departments. Again, we'll meet with everyone to talk about that. We have met, and I can give some examples. You know, finance, Karen mentioned on the fourth floor, is composed of purchasing, finance, and student accounts, and they all had, and payroll, and they all had their own printers, and they found a room that could be used by all departments. And that is the room where we have consolidated them down to one multifunction device printer. We also have an example with alumni and development and ORSP. The development is in Sheldon 210, and ORSP is in, or they're in 215, and ORSP is, I think, in room 210. So they're physically just a few offices away from each other. And we have found a space to move the development Toshiba multifunction device to, and that will be shared across both departments. So there's, you know, some opportunities. We do understand sometimes it's a key issue as well. And for development, we're working on getting keys for all of the staff there so they have access to it. So, you know, that's something you could think about as well. And then also continue to look for digital options. We've talked about color printing. Check your settings each time you print, and do you really need color for that one that you are printing? If not, just pick black and white. Use the double-sided printing as much as possible. And then, you know, just kind of go through that habit of checking and thinking before you print. These are links, which we can probably get the links and put them in the chat for everybody, but these are the official policies that have come from SUNY. So we've reviewed these a number of times. These documents are where they talk about USB, no USB printers, using multifunction devices, the distance between printers, the grant proposals, not including printers in those, and the confidentiality. So there's a lot in there. If you're interested, you can definitely read through that. And, you know, if you have any questions about that, let us know. Thank you, Steve, for putting those in the chat. And that is it. Can we answer any questions that you might have?
I guess I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
With the centralization of the maintenance, are we sure it's not gonna slow down the response time?
The centralized maintenance. Okay, so you mean with Toshiba?
Oh, I don't know. Like right now, we have a printer in the math department office. If it breaks down, the administrative assistant picks up the phone right away and calls. So I don't know how it's going to work with the centralization of the maintenance, because some of the other things take a really long time to get a response. And
We understand. we've been experiencing some of that ourselves. There will be a phone number on the new devices that it will work the same way. So if there is an issue with the printer, the phone number will be listed there. You can call. Each printer will have a unique number on it, and that is given to Toshiba, and then they dispatch somebody to take care of whatever issue it is.
Thank you.
Yeah. Christina?
Will the print release, the secure release, be similar to what the students use now?
It will be similar in some respects, yes. So the students do use a secure release system where they log on to a PC and then they can select the documents to print. They also can use a what's called a Veros app on their phone, and we put a QR code on each printer so they can just scan the QR code and it brings up the app with their list of jobs and they release it from their phone. Right now, with the new secure release, there will be a way on the actual printer to put your password in. So there's no PC connected to it, but it is very similar where you put your password in, but it's right on the display of the multifunction device.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess I have a follow-up question to that. I was a little worried because the idea that my exams get sent to every printer on campus, and is it going to be super secure, that like unhackable? Because right now I just sent it to one printer and I go there and print it out. But if a student could go and guess the password, I guess.
Well, I guess so the documents are stored in the cloud, much like a lot of our data is stored in the cloud. And it stays there, and I think we're gonna leave it for 48 hours. So if you don't print within the 48 hours, this is what is on the student side, then it gets deleted from the cloud. And so, anything, I mean, anything could be hacked, right? I mean, but we're paying companies to make sure that their systems are secure. This is a system that SUNY decided to use. So in some respects, I hope that they've gone through they have. I know they have through the RFQ process. They've gone through security checks. So we are relying on them that everything is secure. And then in terms of the password, you will have a way to have a random password assigned to you. So it is a 6-digit, 6-alpha-numeric code. And as long as you don't write that down or, memorize it, then no one else has that. And it is different from like your email password. Does that help? Karen or Steve, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I did want to mention too, once you print it, it's no longer available on the cloud too. So if you send it and then you go to a printer and print it, it's not going to be, my understanding, Nicole, and please correct me if I'm wrong, it's not going to be available any longer
Correct.
on the cloud.
Correct.
And you can change your alphanumeric code at any time if you want to. So if it's something, final exam and you really want to be secure, you can change your password and then print it, and then it should, that should be as secure as you possibly can get.
Thank you.
Other questions?
When you said people, you can go to, like in the school of business, they can go to different floors. Is that going to be all over campus or just in the building that you're in?
That will eventually be all over campus. So if you're in Culkin and you have a meeting in Rich and you forgot to print something, you can go to one of their printers and release the document.
Great. Yep, that's cool.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things we've seen in our discussions with departments is obviously they buy the paper. And so obviously a system like that wouldn't work, but bringing in the centralized print budget and bringing it all into one budget kind of reduces that as well. So the paper would all come from the administrative side through that budget. So like Nicole said, if there was a case like that, which probably wouldn't happen too often, but if you ever do need to print in a different building, then you're not using up a department's budget, which again is all a SUNY budget technically at the end of the day, but at least it would all be in that centralized print budget together. So
I could have used that yesterday. So that would've been nice. I was in Tolkien.
hey, that's awesome. We have our first example, so that's good. That's awesome. Like Nicole said, any other further questions from anybody? I'm trying to look at the chat too to see if any have come in. Yeah, Christina.
Yep, so, and I probably missed this, but you just said there'll be a centralized budget for the paper. So like we'll get this allotted amount of paper sent to us, or this, I won't have to order paper? I mean, I guess I don't know how that works.
Do you want to take that, Karen? Or do you want me
No,
to?
not really, but we will. This is one thing we have not completely worked out. Our expectation is that the departments will still have to order the paper, but it will go onto a centralized budget just because we can't monitor every printer. We don't have somebody set up to monitor all these. So some things will be similar, but the cost of that paper will eventually be coming out of the centralized print budget. So that if somebody comes into your department and needs to print their test because their printer is down, you're not panicking because they're using all your paper up. You'll still have to order the paper, but it'll come from a centralized budget. So it's really just trying to create cooperation between all the departments, and that's really where the centralized budget will help.
Just got to tweak all the nuances and we'll get it going.
Yeah, like they talk about buying truckloads of paper. We just don't have anywhere to store truckloads of paper. Let's be honest. And we don't have the people to transport, your 3 cases of paper when you need. So that's some of the things we're still working out. And that's, again, where we have to make it an Oswego plan versus a SUNY plan, because other campuses do have warehouses and trucking and, some of the big campuses do, we don't. So, but we're working on a plan, and that's part of our discussion with the departments and, facilities, and, it's a campus-wide discussion.
Well, I'll just go over and steal paper from the CTS 24-hour room if I need it. I'm kidding. They get a pallet.
Yes, we do.
Well, again, we could get pallets, but probably don't want a pallet in your office.
No, I do not. No, my little office. No, thank you.
Are there any additional questions? If not, I just want to thank you all for taking the time to learn a little more about the Print Initiative, taking the time out of your day. If you ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out to any of us. If we don't have the answer, which sometimes we don't, we will try and locate it for you and get back to you. We'd much rather talk to people one-on-one than have people listen to hearsay and, someone told me and they're coming tomorrow to steal all our printers or any of that. We're a cooperative group. We really want to make this something that is as seamless as possible for all the departments and still be able to provide this level of service to our students and our staff. Nicole and Steve, did you want to add anything?
Nope. That sums it up nicely.
I agree.
All right. Give me a few minutes.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.